Click on the YouTube link, watch that video, comment on the section on that particular video, man. I just think that it's going to be a fantastic last third of the NBA season going into the playoffs. We don't know, man. That's the beautiful thing about sports. You don't know. That's why they play the game. So I'm going to leave that at that. Moving on, Pierre, we're going to give you a little bit of NFL news because it is free agency season. Before we get into the free agents, man, want to say sayonara, adios, arrivederci to Peyton Manning, who retired after 18 years playing with the Indianapolis Colts, most recently with the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, round of applause for Peyton Manning.
And surprisingly, peace, adios to Megatron, Calvin Johnson, man. Calvin Johnson retired, man. That dude's 30 years old.
You heard about it a couple weeks ago, maybe about a month ago, hearing that he was thinking about retiring, but it just didn't seem real. And I don't know what it is about playing for the Detroit Lions that force people into early retirement.
You know what it is. You know what it is, man. Losing can take a toll. You know, people think that just because you're getting paid, you know, gobs of money that is going to make you happy. But if you are a competitor and you're playing in a competitive sport and you continuously lose, that weighs on you. And that weighed on Barry Sanders. And apparently that has weighed on Calvin Johnson. So he decides to hang his cleats up after 9 seasons in the NFL. Now, Peyton Manning's retirement is no surprise. Peyton Manning had as much, you know, power in his right arm as an infant child has. So
why are you so disrespectful?
I love Peyton Manning.
Have you looked yourself in the mirror and asked that at any point?
I love Peyton Manning and I love Peyton Manning's forehead. I mean, I love both of them.
One time for the waiter
after 18 seasons.
Shine a spotlight on them and make it hot.
Yeah, man. I mean, Peyton Manning. I mean, we did a video on our YouTube channel about Peyton Manning. Go to banksboy.com if you want to see that one. You know, I was a huge Peyton Manning fan growing up. Follow him to the NFL. Been a Peyton Manning fan my entire adult life, man. Shout out to Peyton Manning, who retires, rides off into the sunset on the heels of that Super Bowl 50 victory. Moving on to NFL free agency. A lot of teams making bold moves in NFL free agency. And I want to chime in on this because I've always said that there's no loyalty in the NFL. There is no such thing as family in the NFL. I don't want to hear it from teams because players can be cut on a whim. They can be released. As I talk right now, a player can be released no matter what type of contract they signed. So if you're a player in the NFL, go and get that moolah because teams aren't going to be loyal to you. So why should you be loyal to the teams?
I want to give a salute to Brock Osweiler because at first I was thinking to myself, Brock Osweiler has to be an idiot. How can anyone leave the reigning Super Bowl champions in Denver Broncos, the vaunted defense that they have, and go to the Houston Texans? Why would anybody do that? And then I started thinking about it, and it's actually not a bad move at all. When you look at the Texans and the Broncos, they had a lot of similarities last year. They had a lot of things that were not similar at all, but one of the similarities was the defense. The Texans actually have a very good defense. They've got to do some retooling there with some guys getting older, but you know, their core, their nucleus, very good defense. What they didn't have last year was success at the quarterback position, which prevented them from going or from making a playoff run. They didn't have that consistency at the running back position. Played a lot of Alfred Blue and Chris Polk, but nobody who really was dominant on the ground. Nobody who could help them control the time, control the clock, and control the game. Now, what they've done is went out and filled those specific holes, the quarterback position, the running back position. They've got DeAndre Hopkins on one side. They've got Jalen Strong on the other side. now to pair with that defense. And I think it was a heck of a move for Brock Osweiler to go to the Texans. And I think the Texans have to be seen as a real threat coming out of the AFC South, a weaker division, and really to come out of the AFC now.
Pierre, bold moves made by the Houston Texans. I like that Lamar Miller move at the running back position by the Texans. I'm going to get into the Brock Osweiler move later. It's not Brock's fault. He is just a player trying to get paid, and he did that. He got paid. Big moves made by the Jacksonville Jaguars, man, signing, they're putting a lot of money, into the players in the Jaguars. Miami, releasing Brent Grimes, signing Mario Williams, signing Super Mario. A lot of moves being made in the NFL. This is free agency season. The NFL seems to find a way to stay in the news year round. It's free agency period going on right now. Teams are shuffling players. My San Francisco 49ers still trying to, find a landing spot for, I hate to say it, man, for Cap. I'm going to hate to see Cap go. I love Cap. Love what he can do at that quarterback position, but I don't blame him for wanting to leave. You don't sit down Colin Kaepernick for a Blaine Gabbert and expect for Colin Kaepernick to remain loyal to your franchise. But I did get an interesting alert earlier. Being that Brock Osweiler moved on from the Broncos to the Texans, the Broncos are looking at bringing in Colin Kaepernick. And look who the 49ers are trying to bring in. None other than Robert Griffin III. RG3. Hey, I love that, man.
Terrible move. It would be a terrible move for any team to bring RG3 onto their roster. I think he's a great player when he's on the field, but I feel the same way about Robert Griffin III as I do about Sam Bradford. Big time talents, but talent can do nothing for you when it's in street clothes. And these guys aren't on the field enough to make a big enough impact for their teams.
I think that RG3 needs to start practicing what he preaches, change his diet. He is a pitch man for Subway, but I don't think he eats those delicious sandwiches. And if you ate a delicious sandwich from Subway, you would remain healthy. Look at Mike Trout. Mike Trout is a spokesman for Subway. You can tell that he eats those sandwiches because that kid is country strong, although he's from New Jersey, and he stays on the field. RG3, do yourself a favor. Eat more Subway sandwiches. Subway, we need that endorsement. We're waiting.
RG3, though he is young, his body it just breaks down on him all the time. You saw the same thing with Michael Vick, undersized guys who do a lot of running. RG3, when he dislocated his ankle the one time, really didn't even get hit. When things like that happen, when things happen like a Arian Foster who, had one phenomenal season and a bunch of very good seasons, a lot of good seasons under Arian Foster's belt. But once you continue to get injured and you can't help your team on the field, the teams have to start moving on at a certain point. They have to get to some players that can actually help them win games. And potential is one thing, but you got to get on the field and you got to make it happen.
So true. In the world of football is definitely what have you done for me lately. Doesn't matter what you did the year before last. Doesn't matter what you did last season. It's what have you done for me lately. Players, go get that money. Those teams are not going to be loyal to you. So why be loyal to them? Take care of your family. Take care of yourselves. It is what it is. It's free agency period in the NFL. Players are going to switch teams. Me being a fan of the San Francisco 49ers, I understand that we're going to, have some turnover on the roster. I'm going to be a 49ers fan until the day I die. But, I can't blame for Cap for wanting to leave. Whoever we bring in to play that quarterback position, hopefully he'll play well. Being that I'm a 49ers fan, I want the team to do well, but I can't blame Cap. I wish him well. I wish any player well who decides to move on from his team and to sign a big contract somewhere else. Speaking of moving on, we're going to move on from the NFL. We're going to take this commercial break. We're going to be back with our top 5. The top 5 reasons why we all love March Madness. You're listening to the All Things Sport podcast on Spreaker Radio.
Pierre Banks here, thanking you all for listening to the All Things Sport podcast. Please subscribe for much more of the show. Also, join myself and Rudy Mondragon for In My Humble, The Split Decision, where we discuss all things boxing and what is just our humble opinion on the In My Humble YouTube channel.
We're back with more of the All Things Sport podcast with Daimeon Banks and Pierre Banks on Spreaker Radio.
And we are back on the All Things Sport podcast. I'm Daimeon. He's Pierre. We've been having a blast thus far. We gave you so many hot topics. We went from UFC, the NBA, the NFL, the boxing, women's tennis. I mean, we were talking about, everything on the hot topics. Now we're going to get into a segment which is affectionately called
The All Things Sport Top 5.
And the top 5 for this All Things Sport podcast is the top 5 reasons why we, as red-blooded Americans, all love March Madness.
March Madness is one of those things to where your team could not even make the tournament, but you're so invested because there's so many brackets and office pools and, fans always going for the underdog, and Carolina fans don't want Duke to win, and NC State fans don't want Carolina to win, and it's crazy around March.
March Madness is a staple in the American society, man. We built so many things around, this time of the year with college basketball. So without further ado,
number 5.
I'll get it started, Pierre. My number 5 reason why I love March Madness is because when March Madness arrives, it indicates that spring is here, man. The flowers are beginning to bloom. The weather is breaking. We're getting out of winter, getting into warmer weather. You gotta love the sun, man. We live in the South. Right now I'm recording from the beautiful Banks Boy Studios in Durham, North Carolina. And you have to enjoy the sun, man. Just get outdoors and enjoy yourselves, man. And March Madness always, indicates and signifies to me that spring is here.
My number 5 is the fact that anything can happen. Anything can happen in March Madness, and no more has that been the case than it is this year. I mean, look at the carousel at the number 1 spot in the rankings. Look at all the teams in the top 5 who have 4 losses, 6 losses and things like that. Look at Fairleigh Dickinson, who was 14-17 going into their conference championship game in the tournament before winning the whole thing, and now they've got a spot in the NCAA tournament. Anything can happen around this time, and it's not women's basketball to where the best teams are so far and away better than those behind them that anybody can get beat at any time. Number 4.
It's on like every TV station now, man. It's on TBS. It's on CBS. It's on TNT. It's on True TV. You can see every game.
Oxygen.
You can see every game, man. When we were kids, it was only on CBS. So, if they couldn't show every game.
The History Channel.
They had every game is on every channel, man.
BET.
We love March Madness. We love our college basketball. So what did the media give us? They gave us every game. Like, you can, if you love it so much, here, we'll show you every game. Like I said, it's on TBS, it's on CBS, it's on TNT, it's on True TV.
TV One.
Every channel, if you turn it, it's on WeTV, it's on BET, it's on MTV. No, it's not on all of those channels. But if you want to see the games, you can find it on your television set, man. We love March Madness.
And my number 4 reason is the seniors, man. Those that stay at their university for all 4, maybe even 5 years, and then they get down to essentially every game that could be their last game at their university. Could be the last game they lace them up, period, because, not all of them are going to the NBA or are going overseas to play basketball. So those seniors that have put everything into their craft, who put in the extra hours, the study hours in the pursuit of their degree and in the pursuit to win championships, and then they lay it all on the line in the NCAA tournament. It just doesn't get better than that, man.